Hello, my friends. Welcome to a new episode of the Artist Next Level podcast. This is episode number 141. 141, and I am super excited to be back here with you. Well, the truth is that I have been missing in action for the last 2 months. I've been gone from doing episodes here on this podcast, and it was one of those things that I just after 140 episodes, I kind of got to a place where I'm not sure if I want to continue doing the podcast. So I took a break. I actually decided to put a hold, to pause the episode, even though we were getting a lot of downloads and the statistics look great. But for some reason, it just didn't feel right for me to continue. So I had to take a break. So today in this episode, I want to talk a little bit about, what this meant for me. This idea of sometimes it's okay to take a break. It's okay to go back and ask yourself, why am I doing this? What is the purpose of this thing that I'm doing? And as artists, it's something that I think many times we have to think about it. We have to reconcile. As we walk in the studio and we're working on whatever project or idea or work of art, sometimes it's okay to stop and to put a pause on whatever you're doing and say, why am I doing this? What is this that I am working on? What is the whole purpose? And that's what I want to talk about. So it's really, there's no outline to this particular episode. There's no guest. It's just kind of a reflection, a little bit of an introspection on why I decided to take a break. And then what does this mean for this podcast that you're listening right now? Which, by the way, I'm going to talk a little bit about what also it means for the future of the Artist Next Level podcast. So my friend, it was about 2 months ago or so that I was doing the episodes on a weekly basis for the Artist Next Level podcast and inviting guests and had amazing conversations week after week. And it was a lot of work, to schedule the interview, invite friends or invite, people that I thought would be great to introduce you through this podcast and have amazing conversations. I really learned a lot. I made a lot of connections. It was just awesome. It was a lot of work also to take each episode and then clean it up, edit it, then make it, to sound great for you episode by episode. And it got to be to a point where I was just kind of like a machine, just making the episodes, and one was done, and then scheduling the next one, and just going and going. And it came to a point for me where I said, well, why am I doing this, right? What's the purpose? What's the purpose of it? And of course, the purpose was to help the art community, to give you something that you could listen on a weekly basis that would really encourage you as an artist, that will give you tools and resources and ideas to continue working. But at some point, for me, it was like, I don't know, it's not feeling me all the way as it should. So I decided to take a break. I decided to stop. I didn't announce it. I just stopped. I just literally just stopped recording the episode. So if you've been a listener for a while, you have noticed that for the last 2 months or more, I don't even remember, I don't even want to look, I don't really care, I just know that I stopped at some point a while back. You were not getting updates from me, and maybe you decided to maybe unsubscribe, I don't know, but I'm here back again. So in this kind of hiatus, in this this little break that I took, I decided to make some changes, and I thought, well, for the first 140 episodes of the Artist Next Level podcast, it's been about interviewing guests and telling their stories and sharing their stories and so on. And I think it's been great. But as I asked myself, what is this for? What is this all about? I realized that I wanted to do something different now. I wanted to take a little break. Now, in between the podcast and kind of, even before I decided to stop, I had decided to also do a new project that was called Breakfast with Sergio. And for those of you who are not familiar with this, Breakfast with Sergio is a show that I wanted to do live on my Facebook, just with my phone, just clicking live. And I wanted to just talk about, being an artist and practical advice for the art career in less than 10 minutes. That was the whole purpose, the whole goal of Breakfast with Sergio. And I call it Breakfast with Sergio because really my day is really busy, it's really packed between being an artist, being a dad, a husband, having a gallery, running an art center, curatorial projects, and the Art Next Level program, which is the coaching artist business that we have for artists, and all these other projects and stuff that I have. The only time that really I had to do something was during breakfast. So I said, why not? Well, I have my breakfast, which I do that every morning. I never leave the house without breakfast. I always wake up in a good mood. It's when my ideas are fresh. Why don't I just click record and start recording an episode of Breakfast with Sergio? And I just pick a topic and talk about it and give advice. And sometimes it's on social media or being an artist or how to run a project and so on. I mean, it's really, really wide. Right now, at the time of this particular episode, I'm in my Breakfast with Sergio number 96. So yesterday was 96. So I'm getting close to the 100 episode of Breakfast with Sergio, because I'm doing it Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. And I realized that I really enjoyed it. I realized that it was something that it came natural to me, that I could just click record and then just have this quick conversation on the 10 minutes and boom. And so that kind of took my whole energy, my whole kind of a mental focus, and that's what I've been doing, for the last few months, and it's just been awesome. It's been a great run. But of course, that meant that this particular podcast, would kind of take a little break, would take a back seat. And in this process of thinking about, what to do and why I do this and so on, I decided to go back. So I'm back in the podcast, but it's going to be a little bit different. It's not maybe what you have expected for the first, 140 episodes. Rather, what I'm doing actually now is not only doing the podcast here and recording it with all my podcast equipment, but I'm also recording it on video. So that this video is going to be available for my friends who follow me on YouTube. So if you don't follow me on YouTube right now, please also go to the YouTube, find Sergio Gomez videos, and subscribe to my channel, where not only you get the Breakfast with Sergio episodes, but you will also get now the Artist Next Level podcast in video format. So what I decided to do as I go back to this and with new energy, with new ideas, is just to have conversations, kind of making it into a video blog in a way, podcast vlogs kind of thing. Sometimes I will have guests. Sometimes I may have conversations with other artists. Sometimes it may just be a solo thing where I just rant about something like right now, right? And I find that now that I'm coming back to it, I have a lot more energy. I'm super excited about it. I'm really happy for what this new format could become. Is less scripted as the first 141 episodes were, because I follow a strict script, as I had a guest and there were big expectations and so on. So this one is become more organic, it's become more casual in a way, but it's still packed with great information for your art career. Because at the end of the day, I don't want you to come here and watch this video or listen to this podcast and not get anything back. I really want you to get excited about your art career, to grab something that you can hold on, that you can take, that you can apply in your practice, in your art practice. So, my friend, what I want to just kind of wrap up this quick episode today and just say that, it is okay for us as artists sometimes to take a break. Maybe there's an activity that you've been doing. Maybe there's something within your art practice that you've been doing or that you're doing right now that you just do it because you've been doing it forever, or because that's the way it has always been, or because that's something that you said you were going to do and you continue doing it, but you're not even thinking about it anymore as much. You're not as excited as you were the first time you started. Maybe it's a project that you committed to do at some point, or it sounded great when you had the idea, and now it has come to a point where it just keeps going, right? And it's that excitement of getting into it is not there anymore. So if that's you, my friend, I want to say to you today, it's okay. It's okay to take a break. It's okay to say, stop. I'm going to put a pause button. I'm going to hold down to the episode. I'm going to stop recording. I'm going to hold down to whatever it is that I've been doing and take a sit back, maybe forget all about it together, and then revisit it with fresh eyes, with new perspective, with new experience, with new understanding of who you are, and where you want to go. Because at the end of the day, everything that you do in your life, in your career, no matter what it is, whatever you say yes to, you are saying no to something else, right? So when I said yes to Breakfast with Sergio, I had to say no to other things, because that also take time to then not only record it, click live, but also then share the episode, repost them, and do all the work that comes along with that. So, whatever you take and you say yes to, you're saying no to something else. So it's okay to sometimes stop. And so on this episode, think about it. Maybe there's something there that you have been thinking about, that you've been doing, that maybe it's a good time to say, you know what, it's good time to stop, to just take a break, to forget about it for a while, get back to it, analyze it, and really ask myself the question, why am I doing this? Why am I really doing this activity, this project, this thing? And is it worth it? What's the end of it? Does it have an end? Does it have a goal? Does it have a reason for being, other than it was a great idea back in the day and now just keep doing it, but maybe it's not really filling you up anymore. It's not filling your tank anymore. Rather, it's the other way around. It's draining your tank, it's draining your energy, and it's draining and it really stealing time from other activity that maybe you could be doing that would be more exciting, more beneficial, have a higher return in the future. So that's something, my friend, that I had to go through, and it really was hard for me to stop the episodes. But you know what? After I did, it was liberating. Not to think about, oh wait, this week I don't have to schedule anybody in the podcast. I don't have to, block 3 hours in my week to edit the episode and post it and schedule it and do all these other things. It was really liberating to have that time for other things. So as you look at your own art career, as you look at the projects that you have going on, ask yourself the question, what am I doing? Why am I doing this? Is it worth continue doing this project, or is it time to stop, to think about it? And the options that are pretty much three that you have. Either you come back to it with new energy and you continue it, either as is, and you just had a good break. Option number two is that you come back and you say, I'm going to do it differently, which is what I chose for the Artist Next Level podcast. And option number three is to say, actually, that's it. I don't want to do this anymore. It's the end of this season, it's the end of this project, and I'm not going to do it anymore. I'm going to retire it. And so those are the only three options you have, for any activity, any project, any thing that you do in your art career. You always have those three choices. Sometimes we forget about it because we are in the hustle of everyday activity, on the things that we gotta do, the run around of everyday life, that we forget about those choices that we have. So my friend, I hope you enjoyed this quick episode. I hope it was useful. I hope it is practical for you. I'm gonna ask you to do me a quick favor. If you really enjoy this quick episode, I promise I'm gonna be back next week, and you will have the next season of the Artist Next Level podcast, and also video show as well. Now here, as it's also on YouTube, to consider also not only subscribing, either in your podcast app, whatever you choose to listen to, or if you're watching it through video, subscribe to my video channel here in YouTube, and take practice on what you learn here, and more importantly, share it with a friend. Share it with a friend. That's the thing that makes me so excited when I see that somebody clicks on the share button or shares it with another friend. That makes me very, very happy. That's what really gives me the juice to come back the next time around and keep doing this show. So thanks, my friends, and I hope to see you in the next episode of the Artist Next Level podcast. Goodbye.